Hello, everybody, and welcome in to the Penny Bloom podcast. And today, the Bad Batch Bitches returns. The season 3 premiere happened last week. The 3-episode premiere. Today, we'll be discussing all 3 episodes titled Confined, Paths Unknown, and Shadows of Tantus. I'm Colton Robertson, and I'm joined by Joseph George. What's up, homie?
Oh, what up? What up? Always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have you. And for the first time ever
Mm.
since we've begun video,
Mm.
we have the pleasure of discussing something Star Wars. And not
Yeah.
only, it's been a while since we've done a Star Wars episode on this podcast besides the solo live commentary for Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving. Wow, that would have been the last time. But then before then, when was it? Was it?
Mandalorian
Oh
finale,
my.
Bad Batch season 2 finale. I don't know
Wow.
which ended first. I can't remember. I think Bad Batch did, but
Mm-hmm. I think the
that's
Mandalorian continued a little bit after.
yeah, yeah. I
But
think that's it before that
wow.
though. So, almost a year ago now. I think that was May. So
Mm-hmm.
it's been a while. It's been a while. And if we get to show off a little bit, I got so much Star Wars stuff that the background here on
Yeah.
video can be different every day. It can
Mm.
be different every Star Wars episode we do. I've got the New Hope vinyl. I've got all 5 members of the batch.
Oh yeah.
The good old Funko Pop. That's always fun. A bunch of Star Wars stuff in the background, and I'm rocking the Hunter bandana today.
Mm-hmm.
We both got Star Wars shirts on. We're in the
Yeah.
spirit of things.
I'm back. We're back. You know.
It's been a while.
Switched out the poster. Got the Penny Bloom repping back then.
Oh,
The only
fuck
way I could
yeah,
get it in
fuck yeah,
frame right now where it fits. So that's the only thing that's
yeah.
changed in my background. But yeah, no, we're fully back in gear, baby. We're back in Star Wars gear.
We
I'm
are
in.
so back.
Oh my god, I was after Ahsoka. Ahsoka was okay. Ahsoka was fun.
Okay, was great.
After
That's fine.
Mandalorian season 3, we're getting a little shaky. We're like, how do we're in that timeline where we're a little shaky. S-
We are. We
and
are.
and my general kind of I didn't think that this show was going to be bad. I didn't think the Bad Batch was going to be bad. It's always been good, and I didn't think that they could just mess it up so horribly wrong in the final season that it's all going to go bad.
Mhm.
But my general kind of Star Wars morale was very low. It
It has
was
been.
it's been very low the last year, I'd say, or
Well, and
just
there's
until.
it's a natural rotation. We've
Mhm.
been getting fucking thing after thing after thing after thing for a while. I think we were due, you know.
Yeah.
We were due for a little bit of a lull, you know. I enjoyed Mando season 3. I enjoyed watching Ahsoka week to week. I had a great time with those shows.
Mhm.
Um, but there's an undoubt there I feel personally there's an undoubted dip. You know, we were on a fucking roll. Mando 1, Mando
Yeah.
2, Andor, Bad Batch 1, Bad Batch 2. I even liked the Book of Boba Fett a lot more than I liked either Ahsoka or The Mandalorian season 3. Um, on a personal note.
I think
Uh,
on
s
a further reflection, I think I'd agree.
I mean,
Ahsoka
and,
might cut close. That might be the closer
mhm.
comparison, but Mando season
I
3
mean, I
definitely.
know I liked Obi-Wan Kenobi more than I liked
Mm.
all 3 of the Book
Mhm.
of Boba Fett,
Oh yeah.
Ahsoka, or The Mandalorian season 3. So, we hit this point where it was 2 in a row that were on the lower end of that
Yeah.
spectrum, you
Mhm.
know? So, and it's only natural with your fandom, you know? I know that I go in and out of Star Wars phases anyway.
Yeah.
Um, so I am so glad that we got this big break for us personally. As much as I would have liked to have talked to Ahsoka, I'm extremely glad we didn't. Um,
Yeah.
now that we're here, I'm excited to talk Star Wars again against it feeling like gotta talk Star Wars again, you know, like
No, this
so,
is a want. This is
oh
a
god, I
we
love
could have
Bad Batch, man.
recorded a Thrones episode today, but we were like, that's going to be impossible to do
Yeah.
because we have new Star Wars and it's good Star
And
Wars
it's
at
the
that.
Bad Batch.
Goddamn, and we got like 4 episodes basically. Episode 1 was basically a double, into one. I mean, it wasn't 40 minutes, but it was like I think it was like 30 something, right? Or am I?
30.
Yeah. So it's like, not quite a double episode, but a chonker.
It was a little bigger. It was a little bigger,
Because
and it felt bigger.
yeah, there was like a kind of not maybe in the middle, but whenever the first blood vial was put in there and the clock
Yeah,
struck
yeah.
or whatever, I think that was like I thought like, oh, episode over, kind of a little bit like that
Mhm.
was a complete episode. What a great episode. And then it's like, nope, next day starting, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm like, this is
Dude, the
this is
cadence.
midway through. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I loved the pacing of the first
Oh.
episode.
Oh,
Uh,
I just got the tweet. The cryptic tweet. It's her toy
yeah,
that she makes. Oh my
yep,
god.
yep. The
Wow.
Kiner siblings back
Oh.
at it
Oh my
again. If
god.
you are a Star Wars fan and you are on Twitter and you like the Bad Batch, there's no fucking way you
Oh.
aren't familiar with the cryptic Kiner tweets. I fucking love the Kiner siblings, and goddamn, are they back on it? It stood out particularly in the premiere. That score
Oh my
was
god.
fucking gorgeous.
Whoa. Like it
Dude.
immediately made you like it I was listening to it and I'm like, okay, wow. Like I'm usually never taken back by a score or like notice it out of watching anything, but I was like, okay, whoa. Like it literally just in the music alone made you feel like it's foreign. It's away from home. It's not comfortable. It's like this is
Melancholic,
yes,
dude.
it is it's just bad. It's
Oh,
just, not right. Even though that no inherent danger is there. It's just it sets the mood perfectly. And oh
we're in an
man.
imperial we're
Yeah.
away from home, we're away from family, we are isolated, we're imprisoned, it's so
Mhm.
well done, and I love that we get this almost Fantasia of beautiful, beautiful imagery, no dialogue, the monotonous everyday, this is what life is. She
Mhm.
arrives in certain places and gets to talk and gets to do things. Uh, the first episode of season 3, all-timer for me. Um, in terms
Yeah.
of just an all-timer. If in terms of just the spirit of Star Wars and what I know and love Star Wars as, which is hope in the face of insurmountable odds,
Mm.
um, that first episode struck that chord fucking exactly, and I was just immediately like, oh, refreshed. It was just everything I've been
Yeah.
wanting for a while, and I needed it, and it was good. It was good, man.
Like it's I wouldn't go as far as to say it's like Andor level writing, but like as close as you can get with like the character or like the story arcs they're working with here, I'd say. Like it's
Mhm.
actually like really creative in the way they're like weaving these metaphors, like with Baxter, being kind of like a metaphor for Crosshair, kind of down, injured, in a cell, kept in there, don't worry about lost causes, Omega, like just worry about getting out of there yourself, sort of thing. And I saw kind of a mirror between, is it Baxter? I think it's Baxter.
It
Um,
was actually much more on the nose than that. It was Batcher.
oh, Batcher. Oh, a little bad Batcher. We got a little good
Yeah.
boy. We got a little
She
good boy.
immediately invited him into the crew,
Hmm.
basically.
Yeah, so
It
we
was
got
like,
a
"You're Batcher.
we
You're the
got a
boy."
good boy joining the crew. Batcher. Okay, I'll get used to that. Not Baxter. Baxter, that's like a dog. That's what I'm
Yeah.
kind of thinking.
They're
Maybe if
going
I
for
got
a dog
yeah.
adjacent
Oh
thing
yeah,
with Bat,
Star Wars
but
dog. Yeah, Star Wars
Star
dog.
Wars dog.
We got Baxter, and we got some new boys. That I'm thinking are probably, I don't know. Do you think that they do just get dropped off at the mountain or the island and stay there,
Yeah,
or do
Papu.
you think that they're like, no, like we have this, we want to like go help you, like
Mm.
we hate Hemlock, he's horrible, he's everything that, we hate this guy, so
I
we'll
think
help you.
eventually it's a possibility. I think it's more likely that they rock with Echo and Rex.
Okay.
Those who are trying to
Ah,
literally, like,
2 days, that's
liberate
right.
clones and set
Yeah.
them free and get them out from underneath the Empire's heel. Um,
Mm.
and I do think that could initially be channeled through them rolling with Hunter and Wrecker to save those from Hemlock. But I think eventually we're getting Echo and Rex helping with that mission too. So I think like it's
Okay. Yeah, that makes
I think
sense.
that that's kind of the idea. But we're already in a fascinating place narratively in terms of
Boom. Omega's out.
I
Omega's
I
out.
thought that was I thought that was at least half the
Like,
season.
yeah, I was looking at the episode titles, and I'm like, okay, we have Infiltration and Extraction, episodes 6 and 7. I'm like, okay, Omega, they infiltrate Mount Tantus, they extract, they get her out, episode 7. That's a little bit before halfway. That makes sense. That's what I was expecting. No, she's out. Crosshair and her out. Not even because of Hunter and Wrecker. Just they got out. Because
God.
yeah, they needed to. So
Oh, and Omega and Crosshair episodes just hitting me like a bolt of fucking lightning,
ooh,
dude.
man, this was nice. This seeing Crosshairs, like, I don't know, just I'm curious on whether it is out of like protection for Omega, just to be like he's trying to be such a dick, like to get her just to go away and worry about herself so that she does just escape,
Mhm.
or if he's
Yeah.
like actually just like truly this lost, as well. I guess maybe it could be a bit of both. That like he is.
Oh, I'm fully reading that character at this point as entirely sympathetic. I don't think there's a um on a personal note, I've had that problem in the past of reading him as like what's going on? Is he loyal? Is he not? I think it's clear that his uh reprogramming
Mm-hmm.
has slowly been wearing off. And I think he's fully there. There was
Okay.
that great episode last season whenever he shoots down his commanding
Ah.
officer and stuff, and it's like he
Okay.
knows what he's prioritizing, which is generally good. Like it is, and I think he's officially there, which is why they're not letting him go.
Okay.
Um,
I see.
Otherwise, I think he'd be back in the field. But yeah, I think there were a lot of really, really sad and moving moments. Like my favorite scene from the first episode is I can't remember if I think it's this conversation she has with Crosshair, where he's like, "Your mission. What's your mission? Get
Mm.
out."
Yeah. What's your
Like
primary
don't
objective, or
yeah.
like, yeah,
What's your
something?
primary objective?
Yeah.
That's the mission. Don't worry about anything else. And he says something like, don't don't even worry like don't worry about me, like
Mm-hmm.
you do, and that's when it kind of shines through, is that it's not just he lies about, if it were up to me I would just go and I wouldn't think twice about leaving you behind, and Omega calls him out on that. She's like, that's not true. um
Mm-hmm.
and we get a little more reason as to why Omega might have such a keen reading on the true feelings of others.
Mm-hmm.
um
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty much confirmed. They've confirmed a couple of things here, which I was
mhm.
I was very glad to see right off rip. Um, she's got a high M count. That I think we've theorized that before. She's
Well,
very
and
intuitive.
coming off of Ahsoka,
Mm,
all bets are off. Everybody has the
that's
capability,
true.
like
Mm-hmm.
it's just a matter of whether or not it comes more naturally to her at this point.
Yeah,
And I think it's clear that with training, it certainly will.
and um, whoa, Project Necromancer here got a little bit way more crazier uh, than I first thought. I thought that the little tester where they were dropping some blood into each vial, I'm like, okay, that's Palpatine's blood. They're testing the mixing between Palpatine and some other blood to see if they can combine them to make some clone that'll work. But then whenever Palpatine arrives and they're like, here's Project Necromancer, uh there's who are they, what who what beings are they storing in there? There wasn't just one. There were
No, no,
a
no, no.
lot.
I
Like,
think they are already Palpatine clones,
oh,
and they are just trying to get the Force capability at this point. They are more than capable of cloning Palpatine. They just do not
oh,
have the ability to make him Force sensitive. This is
oh,
they're gonna fuck with canon because of the bending continuity, not breaking continuity that we've talked about. I
Uh-huh.
have seen the rise and fall of the Empire. He did because he's fucking Palpatine. Uh, Snoke's in that motherfucker. I think that that's a fair bet. And whether that's, I think it's what will become Snoke. You know, I don't think like a lot of people like to
Okay.
think that Snoke is
Well,
like
if it's so they need Palpatine's blood and some other donor. So right now they're just testing clones, you know? Which like that doesn't like are the are is the idea that truly it could be anybody? Palpatine knows this bit of information, so he's just making a clone army as many people as he possibly can, and then hoping that one of them is born with high enough M count that it'll work, sort of thing. Or is Omega like it seems to be that Omega is a very special. No one in the clone army would work at all.
she was specifically engineered
Nala
for this.
say no, she knew. She was like, dude,
Mhm.
no, if he gets your blood, it's done. It's over. Like Palpatine will have what he
Yeah.
wants. This is it seems that Camino, they were working on this in the background without the Empire's knowledge. They had it ready to go. They're just waiting, probably to make more money. Honestly, they're just like we're like so far superior than these people that we can just let out little bits at a time of like what
Oh
we
yeah.
can do, sort of thing. So like it feels that like I don't know, like I don't. We were told that Omega was like the with Boba, like the other um pureborn or what. Yeah, I don't know what to really call it.
Strand cast.
Yeah, Strandcast of Django. Um, but I don't know. Do we?
I think that that shifted. I think that maybe that could have been a cover for them and why they created a female
Thank
clone.
you, thank you,
Um,
because I'm like
but
this
I
doesn't work
also
anymore,
that's the
really.
only reason they made her is so that nobody would immediately identify her as a clone. Even if she did start to show tendencies, I think that they could always fall back on the fact that like we made an entire clone army made of dudes. This isn't a clone, you know?
Mm.
Or they would have, or like they could have tried something like that.
Because
Um,
I did have a thought of what if she's not a clone at all? What if she was
mm.
just naturally born, but raised in Camino, told her whole life she is a clone, the other strand cast of Jango Fett, and she's not a clone. She's just a kid of a Jedi. Like, what if she's fucking Obi-Wan's child? Satine and Obi-Wan's fucking kid. Like, it could actually be possible. And, like, I don't really believe in it. I don't really think it's some massive child of a Jedi that we know and it's going to be a crazy, reveal. I don't really think so. But I do think it's possible that she might not be a clone. Like, who do we trust, like at the end of the day, like with where this information's coming from. And I'd say Nala Se is probably the most trustworthy source that
Yeah.
we have right now. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's getting very interesting. Not as linear as I thought it would be, or just as simple as I thought it would be.
Now
Um,
we're gonna go places this season, and I assume
mhm.
we're gonna spend a lot of time alone with Omega and Crosshair as they try to find a way to contact
Yeah, that's gonna be interesting on the
Hunter and
run
Wrecker.
and trying to reunite and get back together. Um,
Mhm.
cause they jump to like the Empire can't track them, right? Well, they are in
Through
one
like
of their own vessels, so maybe.
yeah, maybe they can
Um,
track it through some other
maybe
like
their first thing they do is they just ditch that, get in a new ship or something, and then go.
be
I don't
the
know,
smart move for
but
sure.
um, because I kind of thought like at the end of this, I'm like Omega was like, we can contact Hunter and Wrecker on this crashed ship, but
Mhm.
now they have a ship that has
Yeah.
comms. Who's to say that they just don't? Hey, we are flying, blah blah blah, right here. Come pick us up. boom, and
Yeah.
then that's the new ship that. So like, are they reunited that soon? Like, is it really next, like the beginning of next episode that they, or is it next like, do you think next episode that they're gonna see each other again?
What's the next episode called?
It is a different approach.
Different approach. I don't know. I don't know. I think in my head, Hunter and Wrecker are planning on taking those kids to Pabu.
Yeah.
Omega only knows one safe haven,
Oh,
and it's
dude.
Pabu. Um,
Oh, dude.
my money's on them running into each other, either running into each other there or barely missing each other there in classic Game of
Mm-hmm.
Thrones type
Yep.
fashion where,
Okay.
they happen to be in the same place at the same
Uh,
time, but they don't run into each other type shit,
yeah. And who's to say
because
that
I
this
mean,
is
there's a
all
whole
happening at
lot
the
of
same
ways
time,
there's a whole
anyways.
lot of ways they could
But
get around the comm thing, like with those shuttles specifically, they could only be short range. They could not be like, like there's all sorts of shit. So like I'm
mm-hmm.
assuming the simple answer would be that they go ahead and fucking contact them.
Hmm.
Um
Wow.
the other thing there though is that Crosshair will know that they let them go and will know that that means they're confident they can find them. Um
Yeah. I mean, Hemlock does say a minor setback.
yeah, like he's like
He's
that's
like, all
no.
right, we'll get them. I got her once. I will get
Like,
her
I've
again.
already gotten her
And
before.
yeah, I
We've
got
gotten
her.
her, like, 3 fucking
Yeah, he's
times,
got her before,
actually.
and
Uh,
now he has the entire Empire's
yeah, all the resources in the
resources at his
Empire, so,
disposal. So
like,
homie's in. Homie is like kind of, it
that
seemed to
was really
be
cool to watch, too.
like Palpatine's like closest thing he has to a son right now. I don't know. I'm really trying to see and connect all these pieces, see where it could go. And um if this is going down the path with Snoke and Palpatine, it's obvious they're trying to connect the new movies and such.
Oh, yeah.
I really, really think Rey's parentage will become clear here. It will. We will see the step in between Palpatine and Rey, with the Bad Batch. If it is not Omega herself, like if like maybe the idea originally is to see if Palpatine's blood mixes with anybody to see if it works,
Mhm.
if the M count is high enough, whatever. But then also, if it is a female clone, then that means that he can have a natural birth of that child. Like
Mm.
Palpatine could impregnate Omega, and then that kid could be, well, no, because then a transfer of, yeah, I guess he still has to transfer his consciousness somehow. Um, and maybe
I
that's
mean,
the Night Sister
That's
thing
Sith
or
magic,
Sith
that's not
shit.
really
Okay, so fair
yeah,
enough. So I
that's
guess
not
the
really
cloning part
science.
is just making the body capable enough, I guess.
Yeah.
So I guess there is no actual real need for an actual impregnation, or I don't know, maybe a natural
No.
birth is different than a cloning birth. Um,
Well,
somehow I don't
I
know. And
I
that's
mean,
why Anakin needed to be put into Shmi and not just, I don't know, something else.
I don't really
Oh,
think we're dealing
bummer.
with any what are you on about? What's going on?
Okay, I mean that just hit. I haven't given it any thought, but you know, it, Anakin just being popped into Shmi, it could have just been the Force. The Force just needing a child to be born, and Anakin was this divine whatever. But if it's around, I mean, Omega's the same age as Anakin, right? Like, it's
At
weird timing there. Trying to birth a super high M count baby.
Anakin's, like, 10 years older than
Oh,
Omega. Anakin's
wait.
Darth Vader right now.
Oh, what the fuck am I thinking? Who's the same age as Omega? Someone is, I
Boba?
think. Oh, maybe that's what. Okay, then I don't know what I'm thinking then. Yeah, I just
Okay.
the timeline did not work there.
No,
Mm,
there's a lot. There's a lot there,
yeah.
timeline-wise. And when it comes to, like, Rey's parentage, I guess it's just, like, it's just books, which they've been very comfortable messing with
Oh
in
yeah, I
terms of
guess that does all exist,
canon.
huh?
Yeah, no, like, as of right now, Rey's dad is a Palpatine clone that was not Force sensitive.
Palpatine clone that was not Force sensitive.
Yeah.
So what's
And
in the
then
tube right now then?
not Force sensitive clones.
Like, so what they have at Mount Tantus right now is basically Rey's father.
Probably basically what Rey's dad would be.
Just one of them. Like, there's
Just
multiple,
one of
or was there like one that they finally reached that they're like, oh, this is the one that we
They don't
need.
really specify that, which is interesting. I think that yeah, it's the book Shadows of the Sith, which is really,
Okay.
really good, and I strongly recommend it. It's written by Adam Christopher, and they go into a little bit of his upbringing on Exegol. He grew up on Exegol, his son. So uh,
Okay. Not a
that's
great
another
place to grow
interesting
up.
thing they're doing with like this side of
Hmm.
canon right now is that like
Wow.
how does Mount Tantus and Exegol affect each other? Like what's does Mount Tantus not last and they need to transport their operation and that becomes what they're doing on Exegol? I kind of take it that Exegol is
I
a long time in the works
Yeah.
and Rise of Skywalker is about, I don't know, I think 45 years after this, 40
Oh,
years
we
after
still
this.
have that long
Um,
to go.
yeah, I mean, because
Okay.
this is max 3 years after Revenge of the Sith,
Mm-hmm.
which is 17 years before A New Hope.
Okay. So yeah.
Which
Wow.
is 25, 27, 30 years before The Force Awakens.
Yeah.
So, like, we're
Okay.
talking about 45 years between The Rise of
Oh,
Skywalker and where we're at right now.
so Ray's
Um,
parents aren't really in the picture yet.
her mom, if
Oh
if
yeah, who's her mom?
anything,
Who is her mom?
normal chick as far as the book's concerned. I mean, she had a pretty expansive backstory. I could go into it.
You think? Think she's a normal? You think?
I'm fairly certain. According again, I'm going off what the book says.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay. So like it is known for certain
It like
she's just a
I
normal
mean,
chick.
she was mechanically inclined. She was very talented flying ships and fixing ships like Rey eventually is. I remember looking into it and seeing if there was any connection to like Stewjon, the planet that Obi-Wan is sonically from. I was like, I wanted to see if that's like
Okay.
if she's extended family of
Okay.
Obi-Wan Kenobi and they're
So
in, you know,
so it does
but
depend on how much they weigh the books
yes.
in
And frankly,
mm,
the way that they've bent some of the canon for the books gonna get flamed by the book people, but I'm one of you, by the way. It's not that absurd of stuff they've changed. I didn't love the way they treated the Ahsoka book, but that's it, and that was one Tales of the Jedi short. Um,
that's right. I remember that. That was kind of I understood that one at
it
one
was more a
point. It
representation
was
thing that was like, come on now. But like
yeah.
the events themselves weren't that different.
Mhm.
But the relationships formed and stuff were, and I didn't love that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like they have not overhauled book stuff yet. And they are kind of getting into gray area with Ahsoka and the Thrawn books. I haven't read those, but I've seen the Thrawn book people not very happy with the way Ahsoka treated him.
Mm.
So there's all sorts of stuff like with the, and
Wow.
I've read a lot of the books, but I still have a bunch of books to go. So I'm like, but Shadows of the Sith, as far as I know, we're there with Ray's parents. Like Ray's parents exist. We know who
Oh,
they are.
okay.
It's more what they're connect. Like the interesting part would be if her mom is connected to other people in any capacity. Because the other thing to remember that the Bad Batch animation team has done a very poor job at, um, is that the Bad Batch isn't white. They're not white people. Um,
Mhm.
you forget that watching this. Like they look like white
Damn,
people.
that's yeah. Wow. No, yeah, saying
So
that.
like a lot of the theory and stuff here could fall apart pretty quick with being related to Ray. Um,
Oh
like blood
yeah.
wise.
Oh yeah. That does Ray's pretty white.
Yeah, it's a white woman right there. It's a
Yeah,
white woman, Daisy Ridley.
yeah.
Um,
Um,
yeah, they've done a pretty shoddy job in terms of skin tone of the Bad
mhm,
Batch. Like that, they originally played by Tamara Morrison, who
mhm,
is
mhm.
Maori,
Yeah,
so not a
yeah,
white guy. But they
yeah.
they've
I
they've
haven't,
done
yeah,
everything they can to make him white for sure.
haven't really thought
Um,
about that. Um,
it's a
haven't
rough.
really
That's
thought
the
about.
that is for me the roughest thing about the Bad Batch. It's a pretty big one. It's a
Ooh,
pretty big one. That's a rough. It's not good. And
glad.
the Clone Wars slowly did that too. Like it was
Yeah,
like a
yeah. Glad that it's hidden by good writing and visuals and
good writing, good
performances.
storytelling.
Yeah,
I mean,
everything else is
and
great.
great animation.
Yeah,
Like the animation's fucking gorgeous. Um,
yeah, yeah. I mean, man,
yeah.
they have, and that's. I really, really hope that this isn't them closing the doors on Star Wars animation and they don't just let other companies do it for them with visions and that they continue their animation. I hope that people just really,
Right,
really
man.
love this and I hope it just gets all the love that it deserves. And they're like, okay, we are, fuck it. I don't know. Here's a whole, I don't know. I don't know what I want, but I just want more
I want
animation
more Star Wars
from
animation, really. I don't care. Like, I don't
Lucasfilm
even care where it's set, what
animation.
story they're telling.
Mm-hmm.
Give me more Star Wars animation, you know. And a really good sign is that they're doing the High Republic, the Young Jedi Adventures. Little, I mean, like
Hmm.
that is a kids show. Like
Yeah.
that is for small children. Still entertaining as all hell, cute as fuck. But
Mm-hmm. Huh.
it's certainly for 5-year-olds. But they're still doing it, and that's Lucasfilm Animation. That's everything. So like,
Okay.
it gives me a little hope that they intend to at least keep their animation branches open, which I would. I mean, I think it's insane that in sort of a renaissance of American animation, I mean, obviously Japanese animation and other countries' animation has been solid for a while.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I mean, there were barely any commercial American animated films that didn't look like Over the Hedge, for example, Um, just kind of the style in American
That's
animation
true.
for a
Yeah.
really long time.
Mhm.
And
They
then
do
Spider-Verse came along
yeah.
and shook up the game. Then we got
Hmm.
TMNT last year and, again, Across the Spider-Verse, Puss in Boots: The Last
Yeah.
Wish, so now they're getting a little hung up on the Spider-Verse thing, um,
Trying to mimic that. Yeah.
but we are getting there. We are getting there. Across the Spider-Verse ends up
Mhm.
marrying a bunch of styles, so but anywho, with, like, this modern renaissance of American animation, you'd think Lucasfilm would try to get in the game a little bit.
Yeah,
They're fucking
interested to
good at this
see
stuff.
what if they were to choose like a style, if they just remain with kind of the style we have now, like in Bad Batch style. It seems that it's what they wanted to do with Clone Wars in the early days, but just didn't quite have the tech to do so. But now that they do, it's just like the crisp, just everything looks so good.
Mm.
Or if they would change the style kind of completely and go with something else.
I
Um,
would love if they changed the vibe, I like the Clone Wars animation style. I think it's beautiful. I think they've
yeah,
they've done it, you know? We've gotten 4 seasons of television with this style,
yeah,
not including Tales of the Jedi.
true. Yeah, the only switch up
Fuck it up, man.
is Visions. That is the
Um,
only switch ups we get.
but yeah, so I've generally and genuinely enjoyed the animation style since that was 2020 season 7 of Clone Wars. I believe it was May 2020.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow, that long ago.
And yeah, a while back. Um but I loved that. I
Mhm.
loved that. I loved that season and I've loved everything we've gotten with this animation since. Um but some variety never hurts. I think that the the super strong stylized structure they've kind of set up for themselves, I think just evolving it a little bit could be super effective. Now, obviously, the way that Rebels was received and the way Resistance was received changed the way they looked at messing with their animation style.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
because it looks more like it's for kids.
true.
It's a different animation style. It's all animation, buddy. It's all
Yeah.
being drawn on a computer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
But
Maybe because that is like I love when people say that the Bad Batch and Clone Wars and Rebels are all meant for kids, but then they have the shows that are clearly meant for kids that are in kids animation style.
a different
Um,
type of kids
yeah,
show,
so they
yes.
they actually have kids and children's shows, and I don't know. I wouldn't call Bad Batch a kids show. Like it's very scary for a kid. I'd say. I don't know. Like
I think
Palpatine,
that
dude. Palpatine looked freaking good here. I like just the whenever whoever he was looking at. I guess I was thinking that these were captured Jedi's or um
hmm.
just people that had high M counts.
It and it could be. I don't think that's a bad idea. Um,
Hmm,
Order
okay.
66 happened not long ago. If they keep their bodies and try to figure out a way to, because 'cause they're just talking about
Imagine.
matching and exceeding an M count.
Yes, imagine we already we Order 66. We know it's bad. We've lived through it many times. It's almost a weird thing now that we want to see it as many times as we can in Star Wars. Like every time that it's shown back up in something new, we're like, "Oh my god, we're getting more of Order 66." It's a weird thing to
Yeah.
want more of, but imagine this whole time we just thought that it was murder all of them, kill all the Jedi. But there's a little added step at the end. Murder the Jedi, retrieve the
Take their
body,
body.
take the
Yeah.
body. Maybe that's what the entire Thrawn, uh, his coffins are full of. Is all of
Mm,
these? It's the Project Necromancer fallout. It needed to be protected. It needed to be sent to a fucking different galaxy in order to be protected. A sort of thing. I don't know. Or like to be kept a secret or because I think that's the break now. Now that like Omega's out and everything, whatever, I think the big thing that Palpatine is worried about, and he says it. He says like this is the future of the Empire. This is of utmost importance, and Mount Tantus must be kept a secret under, that is very important. If anybody finds out about this, very, very bad.
yeah.
And the people who know about it are the Bad Batch. And so now I think it's a very clear we have to kill the Bad Batch now in order for this information not to leak. Um, so I think that's probably where the story's going now. And then in the meantime, we can find out more about Project Necromancer
Mm.
and everything in between. But I think kind of the overarching story is just the mere fact that the only people to know about Mount Tantus are, I I guess, the Bad Batch and these other child clones now. Sorry, they kind of got roped into it. But then that would also be the
Well,
island too.
they don't even know
Um,
about Mount Tantus.
True. I guess Hunter and Wrecker don't know yet about Mount Tantus.
Mm-mm.
That's true. Okay, so it is just Crosshair and
They
Omega.
know a sector. They don't
Mm.
know where in that sector, and sectors are
Yeah, that's
giant
true.
swaths of
That's
space.
true.
So, like,
Wow, what an interesting kind of dynamic that they'll have here. It's going to be the same thing. They want to capture Omega at all costs. She needs to be alive. Like it is they need Omega. She is the match, which isn't
yeah,
like so her blood works, but like do they need her to be alive? Or do they just need to reach a certain amount of blood and a certain amount of something and then they are good? Or like is
I
it
think it's probably similar. I mean, like, it's seeming that Grogu is directly connected to Project Necromancer as well.
mhm.
Um, they prefer alive so that the blood cells can replenish and they can keep getting blood. Versus once they're dead, you got that much blood left. You know.
Okay. So it just is better if they're alive. They don't need,
Yes.
maybe for one clone they can just have whatever, use that little bit, but if they ever want to do more with it or what
Mm.
it's always so confusing as to what exactly her blood or whatever would do exactly. If it is just to make another clone for like a host body, and that's all that these are just host bodies for Palpatine to eventually go into, or if the goal was to not have these just be for Palpatine, if it was to create another like the next army, the next step um, of an army, and have it be force sensitive clones, and not just a host body for Palpatine. Maybe that's the plan at first to get him, and him resolved. Um, but I'd say most of the struggle is they're looking for an M count that is the same or higher than Palpatine's, in which he's fucking boosted. He's like on the grand scale of everybody, he's up there. He's like, I don't know. I'd assume he's not Anakin levels probably, or Yoda, but I mean I'd say he's probably up there
Oh,
with Yoda.
no.
Actually, I don't
You're
know.
you're right that it's definitely Jedi bodies in there.
Because it's M count. They need
Yeah,
M.
they
M
need
count's
they
the
need a
only
force
thing they
sensitive body.
need.
Yeah.
But so like, I don't think a Palpatine clone would have the M count that Palpatine has, because
No,
that's the
yeah.
whole thing, is that they don't have the force capability. Fuck. So they are high M count people in there probably.
I'm assuming dead high M count people that they take those
Dripping the
vials of
blood,
blood the
yeah,
same way they
and then
do.
they're just being used slowly. Yeah, I'd say my best guess is that it's the remnants of Order 66, just any dead body, or even worse, they're being kept alive,
Yeah.
like in there, and they're not dead. So that'll be, and it
Yeah, it was
looked very
fascinating to
Night
watch.
Sister esque as well. The floor,
There was
the
definitely a
patterns,
cultish
all the
thing going on.
patterns and everything there. Yeah, definitely not Sith, not Sith, not Empire. It wasn't him. Like, it didn't
I mean,
seem
it,
that
it
that
looked
came
more
from.
like looked more like Final Order shit.
Ooh.
Like it looked
Mm.
like the shit he's got going on Exegol. Like that's the vibe
Exegol
they're
shit.
bringing.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, maybe that's better than Night Sister. Not quite Night Sister, but more Exegol. That,
because
yeah.
it's got the straight red and black aesthetic that all his
But the
troopers had,
patterns,
and
like the circular, like it kind of reminded me of the map in Ahsoka a little bit. Like I don't know. It reminded me a little bit of some Ahsoka visuals. Um, at least that's Exegol. It
uh,
makes more sense, I think. But I don't know. The on the floor specifically, it looked like they
yeah,
were like the circular patterns and then them connecting to each other. Looked kind of, I don't know, map-ish for some reason to me, or that they were placed in a very particular pattern. That they weren't, it wasn't just like a grid full of bodies. It
mhm,
was like,
yeah,
for some reason, they were on display, or I don't know,
yeah,
put in a
yeah.
very particular way.
No,
Um,
it was an interesting setup, but I think that I mean, I'm sure Night Sister stuff comes up, and I'm sure Night Sister stuff comes up in the capacity of resurrection. I don't know, and like ritualistic type stuff.
mhm.
Um, maybe to further your Order 66 theory, maybe they were dead Jedi.
Oh, okay. There's the better link, because I was thinking like the whole consciousness thing. I'm like, is that Night Sister, or is that just Sith? Can Palpatine just already do
Just
that?
Sith shit.
Um,
I don't think he can already just do that per se. I think that it's
or it's just a
I mean, like,
Sith
and I'm saying
thing.
that as like like once you access the dark side, there are levels to this shit. You
Hmm.
can't just be like, I'm gonna use this dark side power. Like
Yeah.
it's taken him a while to cultivate it. But yes, I suppose that at this moment he would probably be capable of that, which is why he needs a clone. Because he's like, I'm fucking dying, bro. Like, eventually I'm gonna die.
Oh my God, is it some Thanos level type thing where, um, you know, Anakin was born out of this miraculous thing, because a balance was needed. There was such an
Mhm.
imbalance that Anakin was needed, so the Force created this child. And then
Yeah,
Palpatine was like, I'll take that, thank you very much, and I'll manipulate that for his whole life.
yeah,
Palpatine knows this. He creates, this is just step one. There was an imbalance, yes, and Anakin was needed. Palpatine creates an even bigger imbalance, He wipes out every Jedi there is. I would say probably a bigger imbalance than there. We do say that it is all balanced. There is 2 Sith, and then at the very end, that there were thousands of Jedi versus 2 Sith, and now it's a lot more balanced at the end. But it doesn't really seem like it. The 2 bad guys are very, very powerful bad guys,
Yeah.
and a lot stronger than the rest of the Jedi that are remaining. So maybe this is his long-term plan of just getting the Force to create another baby, another, you know, there is no other way to do it. It has to be through the Force. It has to be through balance, and the only way to tip the balance is to mass murder, just genocide of
Yeah.
of
The
the
Jedi.
people that are the light of. So
Yeah.
I don't think they'll go. That's kind of crazy. The more I was talking about it, the more I realized how deep the rabbit hole I was going down.
No,
But
the general spirit of what you're talking about is essentially what Palpatine did. Obviously, you took it to a much more philosophical and, uh,
mhm,
literal scientific level within the Force, how the
yeah,
Force operates. But that's essentially what Palpatine wanted to do: was wipe out all light, so darkness dominated the galaxy. In so many words, but
mhm,
I've always been a fan of the theory that, and I don't think they'll play with this at all. I think Anakin getting chopped up by Obi-Wan really fucked up Palpatine's plans. I think that he wanted to clone Anakin and transfer his consciousness into Anakin because Anakin is a young, strong, able-bodied gentleman. Um,
that's definitely true. Yeah, if it, which is the weird thing. It seems that oh, it's a clone that has the M count. That is why Omega is so special. Is because she
mhm.
is a clone that has the M count. They have
Yeah,
bodies of people that have had high M counts before. That's
no.
not the
They
the
need
only
a
piece of the
clone
puzzle.
that has
That's why
that
she's so
yes.
special. So,
Yeah.
okay, so maybe the natural birth, I kind of throw that out of the window then, because I think that is actually crucial that she is a clone.
She has to be a clone, yeah.
Because then what's the point of them testing the blood? Someone's bound to have a higher M count than Omega. I mean, who knows? Actually, Omega could be boosted, and we have no idea. Maybe she's the next prodigal, just force
Yeah,
baby that was
yeah.
needed right now. But I don't know. I'd say if just a high M count was needed, there's many other. Well, I guess they did just kill all of them. Um,
I mean, there's
so
still,
yeah,
like, at least 100 Jedi in the galaxy
but like
at this point.
not all just they're very much hidden. They're not in the temple. You can't just go walk in the temple
Oh, true,
anymore
yeah.
and be like, I have a Jedi. I need to capture a Jedi. They're all on undercover. Um,
How does the path come into it then? We've already seen
mm,
Asajj Ventress. We know she'll be in it. We haven't seen her. We saw her in the trailer, of course.
I've heard
Um,
in the books that Quinlan and Asajj are a thing,
yes,
are
yes,
an item,
absolutely.
and that's pretty cool. To the whole Asajj thing is gonna be very interesting. To see, how.
Dark Disciple, I haven't read it yet, but I've heard fantastic things. It's like my next up, basically, and I have a feeling that as soon as I watch the episodes with Asajj, I will take that deep dive
Yeah, I
into
wonder. I
Dark
wonder when
Disciple.
she will pop up. Like, cause what? Maybe I don't know. Maybe those patterns where Project Necromancer was taking place. Maybe there is some Night Sister stuff, and maybe that's how she comes back into the stories. They need a Night Sister, who
Right.
will work for who will not be on the side of the Empire, and whatever's happened with Asajj. I don't know. It seems pretty cool that she's
Mhm.
um kind of going down her own path. Finding her own path, and if it's him and or her and Quinlan being the ones to create the path, and just I don't know. I don't. Is that the only connection though that she has is the path and Quinlan? Is that it, or her being a Night Sister
Asajj
is.
or like her
Yeah, her
like her capacity.
Asajj being a Night Sister adds a little bit more to her. Like there's
I mean, last we saw her also, she was a bounty hunter.
oh Oh.
So there's no telling how they might fold in her bounty hunting. We've already seen several bounty hunters pop up.
Oh, that's true.
They've
We're
got
getting Cad and Finnick, I guess this season as well. Cad Bane and Finnick Shan. They were both in the trailer. The trailer kind of, I don't know. I hate that a lot of stuff is. Oh no.
Oh,
I thought
I'm
you.
there. I'm
Oh,
there. I'm
okay.
listening.
It was
Sorry.
the same
I was
position.
locked in.
It
I
was
was
kind of the
locked
same
in. Yeah.
position.
Yeah, no,
But
sorry about that.
no, it's okay. But I was just, I don't know. A lot. The trailer kind of revealed a lot, but a lot of it was shown. You don't have. It's okay.
No, I'll keep
No,
moving.
that's
I'll just keep
okay.
moving. That's all. No,
Um,
I'm just playing.
the trailer did reveal quite a lot. Like to even know Asajj is coming back. In the first place already, like it is kind of crazy. Um,
No, yeah, it's an interesting tactic, which lets me know that like that's why the Palpatine stuff is going to be the key part of the story, is because like they alluded to the fact that Palpatine and that story was the point of the season in the
mm,
trailer, but they don't give us anything. So I think that that is the part that's gonna
okay.
fucking knock our socks off. What I do want to ask before we get to the end here, I know we've done a lot of theorizing, and sorry to everybody if that's not what you're here for. It's probably what we're going to be about pretty weekly if we've got fuel for it. And this week gave us more than we've gotten in a while. So,
Yeah.
um, who do you think makes it out of the season? Who do you think lives through the end of this show?
It's weird to think of what is the end. I'm really hoping that island is never found out about ever.
Yeah, if
You know,
Pabu's found, fuck it,
fuck.
I'm done.
Dude, Pabu needs to be available so that it is the happy ending for whoever does
Mhm.
make it out. So that is where I will be right now, is thinking that these people will make it to Pabu. Everyone, but if someone has to go, it's Wrecker. I don't know. For me, I don't. Ooh, it could be Hunter. I could see Hunter actually going. That would be the
My
most
hot take?
devastating. Don't tell me it's Omega.
No.
Okay.
Omega is the only one definitely making it out.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
I think there's only one other person who makes it out of the show, and I think it's Crosshair. I think Echo, Hunter, and Wrecker die. Um, that's where I'm at. I think
By
that,
the Empire?
but
Like,
I don't think that I don't want this strictly, but let's
why do
keep
you
in mind
think this?
it's just well for Echo. Echo has my most logical reasoning. He's chosen to stick with Rex, and I don't think that's going away anytime soon. Come Rebels, he's got two of his homies with him. They've grown into old age, and neither of them is Echo. So I think Echo is dying. Echo is the one that I know for sure doesn't make it out of the show. Um, because I think
Damn.
that if he decides I'm gonna go settle down on Pabu, like it's a real back and forth flippancy thing, and I would like it. I'd like it for the character, but I think that writing wise, that'd
I
be a
could
little
see
like,
it. I could see him being like, you know what? I thought I was a soldier, but man, I actually missed you guys, and
well,
family and whatever is more like I'm done with the fight, and I don't know. I
and
could.
I could see that, but only if they accomplish a lot this season. And what they would have to accomplish is freeing every imprisoned clone, because that's his mission. Is they are freeing the clones, and I don't think he will stop that until that mission is complete. So if they can manage to complete that mission, I absolutely see him settling down on Pabu. If they don't, he's dead.
Yes, dude. Wait, maybe. So there's some. They're the only ones that have their inhibitor chips out, and they're zero programming whatsoever going between them. Now that it seems that they have this new way of programming clones, that's not through the inhibitor chip or something. I don't know. Maybe they go into that, or maybe it is through the inhibitor chip, but it's literally like a Bluetooth thing. It's like a wireless connection, and they can just control people, and it's from a central hub, and then maybe if they destroy that, the central command, then the clones are actually free. They can think for themselves now, and that's like freeing them, sort of thing. Is that freeing them from their programming?
Mhm.
Maybe.
I could see that as well. You know, I think that there's the bottom line
How
when
many
it comes
clones are
to Wrecker
left?
and Hunter.
Like a lot. I guess they've been phasing them out. Like if every clone woke up and was like, "Oh, now we're gonna fight the Empire. Fuck these guys." It would. I mean, holy shit. I mean, it would have been no. Like
Yeah,
that's a
no, I
big
think
ass. I don't know.
they say something about how programming has been fading. It's been fading
Mm-hmm.
in these episodes. I can't
Just
remember
in
which one.
general.
Across the board,
Oh.
clones are starting to
Mm-hmm. Okay.
not not fuck. So Hemlock is saying that he's like, you know, let me have my way with them. He's basically just torturing these motherfuckers, is all he's doing until they do what he wants. He's basically Ramsey Boltoning them into being reeks. You know, like that's essentially, I think, what his method is. I don't think there's a literal
I don't
programming
know.
in terms of science he's got going on.
It is, yeah. What is he doing with all the clones? Because he's got some assassin drones that are fucking different, though. Was that Hemlock or was that just the Empire had those? Like the one that didn't have a serial number or something that was like an untraceable clone.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
I can't remember who we ended up finding out who did that.
like so
I think
I don't.
those were Imperials, but
Was it Hemlock? I think it was. I thought it
it might
was
have been.
one of Hemlock's. But like I don't know. I feel like he does have something like in the bag. And Crosshair's just in a different group of clones because he knows there's nothing they can do. There's nothing he can do with him anymore. So that is his method of Ramsey Bolton and him just torturing him forever. But the other I don't know. I don't like we that's only a small group of clones that we have seen like just walk, whenever Omega takes her lap and we see Crosshair walk by. It's only like 3
Mhm.
or 4 or 5 clones with Crosshair
Yeah.
in that little cell block. So I don't know, maybe there are other clones. Yeah, no, I guess if they did mention though that just in general clones are just not listening anymore. That is interesting. I don't know. I guess I missed that maybe. Um or maybe I thought it was just being applied to someone and not overall
It might not have been
clones.
the I rewatched the last 3 episodes of season 2 last night too, so, um, there's a decent chance it was in, like, the finale of that. I can't remember, exactly when I heard that
I
said,
don't
but,
know.
like,
You
it's
might
kind
be
of
right
a
though.
across the board thing. Um
I think you no, yeah. It seems
'Cause I mean,
vaguely
like, we've seen
familiar.
it. Hauser, laid down his blaster on
Okay.
Ryloth. We've watched this sort
Mhm.
of happen.
Mhm.
Um, it's not a permanent measure, the inhibitor chip. Like, they thought it could be, I think. I don't think they expected it to wear off. Um, but, I mean, regardless, I think that
Mm.
the freeing of clones that they're doing, as far as the end of season 2 is concerned, is very literal. They are getting clones to fight for their cause so that they can free more clones. It's kind of their goal right now. So like
Eesh. Yeah, but
I
man,
think
when
I mean like
when do you
I would love it if Echo made it out. I don't think he does. When it comes to Hunter or Wrecker, I think one of them's going. And at that point, if one of them's gone, well, are we just gonna have Hunter, Omega, and Crosshair left? No, I think Hunter dies too. Um,
Oh, they could all be chilling on Pabu and that's where all the clones go too, you know? They're like if you want to stay in the fight and help us free other clones, cool. Come with us. If you're done and you want a great life, no strain, no one's going to harm you, Pabu.
mm,
That's
yeah.
just,
No, and I'd love that. I'd love if that's like that becomes the refuge. If that becomes the clone refuge, that is where they go. I'm here for it, and I have faith that a lot of that will happen. Seems like it's already starting with these 2 kids that they're finding and like, that
Mhm.
if they come across clones, they're gonna go, "We have a safe haven. You can go to Pabu. They'll accept you. They love us there." So, um,
Okay. Wow. Wow. Wow.
but, um, I'd be willing to bet.
All
I
of
mean, like,
them.
I don't like thinking Omega would be the only one left. I think that would suck. I think that'd be really fucking sad. And I don't like the idea, and I think that they are self-aware enough and trying to take this story in a different direction enough that Crosshair isn't getting a redemption by death. He's not sacrificing himself to save everybody. He might try to, but I think ultimately Hunter wouldn't let him.
The line though that he literally says, Omega, I wouldn't hesitate not to leave you behind or whatever in something. And this season he will absolutely do that. He will follow through on that, I think. Like he literally said, like, Omega, I will not even hesitate to not think, or to put myself first or something like that. I could by death, maybe not. Maybe it isn't like a tech situation. I don't think so. But yeah, his redemption would definitely come from him living through it and being a different person because of what he went through, not sacrificing himself. Man, that is actually kind of likely. All of them going.
And I mean,
because when do we
I could
see
also
them
see.
ever in the future? They pop up never.
Frankly, if they make it to Pabu,
That's
I hope
true.
not. I don't
That's
want to.
true. I guess,
I don't
yeah,
want.
just stay there. That is why we
Mhm.
don't know. That is a perfect explanation. If you don't hear about them, it's because they're at Pabu.
Yep. And I love that. I love that.
I'm saying all of my prediction right now, everyone, including Tech, will make it to Pabu. And that is the Night Sister connection. Is
they're resurrecting
we
Tech.
will see the resurrection of Tech. Well,
We
okay.
saw the mysterious clone this week.
Wait, we
That
did
I'm fairly
in
certain
the
is
in the
Tech.
in the helmet, like
Yeah,
we did.
just showed up for like a second. They just flashed him, and he like walked out and walked into like a ship at some point, and that was it.
Huh? I didn't catch it. I'll have to go back and watch. But
It's a little
man,
blink and you miss it. I think it was episode.
and I'd say I'd like everyone to make it to Pabu, and me throwing Tech in there is me just very, very, very
Yeah,
wishful
copium.
thinking. If Tech is back, I'd say he's back, but not back. He's zombie Tech, and it'll they'll have to deal with having to kill him, which will be like a whole nother fucking like like fuck. I hope they don't have to kill. I don't know. What would you rather want? Would you rather want them to be the ones to put him down and like to be like goodbye, or would you rather want just like him to blow up with a bunch of other shit? Because of the Empire, or I don't just
No, I'd
in
much
utter
rather the
chaos.
personal touch there.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you this: the big looming threat, and I'm not saying I necessarily want this, but it's undoubtable in this era.
Mm-hmm.
Are any of them killed by Darth Vader? That is the Emperor's number one enforcer. Hemlock was just told he has all the resources of the Empire. We've watched Darth Vader hunt people down with his Inquisitors. I think,
Oh, fuck. Why did I never even think Vader was a possibility? He is the possibility now. Like, yeah, this is the
I
most
mean, more so
important.
than ever with the specific inclusion of the Emperor and the express mention of all the resources being at the disposal. It is of the utmost importance to the future of this empire. And if that doesn't concern Vader, I don't know what does. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I've been hesitant to kind of commit to that idea. I think at least one of them is dying at the hands of Darth Vader. And I think it's Hunter. I think it's Hunter. I don't think they'll kill two people at the same time in a fight against Vader. I think one of them would try to cover their escape. I think it would show just how much they descend directly from Jango, a Jedi hunting Mandalorian, very capable of fighting Force sensitive beings. Now that I'm thinking about it, how fucking terrible would it be if Vader killed Echo? Because if we recall, Echo was saved by Anakin, and that did lead to him joining the Bad Batch in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Mm-mm. This,
that wouldn't be great.
no. Echo has been through too much. The dude has seen too much trouble in his life. He he deserves to be on Pabu at the end. You know, like I
He
hope.
deserves it.
I hope.
I want him to.
Oh man, he's the only one that has like a connection to Vader, though.
Yeah. The only way, for me, the only way Echo lives is if he's the only batch member left. Like, if there's no one else left to be with Omega besides Echo. You know, like,
So then he has to leave Rex and them to stay with
yes, that would be
Omega.
the way he is forced to leave,
Okay.
you know?
Yeah. I could see Vader's definitely. I can't believe that didn't hit me, but that's definitely a possibility. I could definitely see someone dying from that interaction for sure. And the poetic one I think would be like Echo,
would be
and
Echo.
but maybe he's the one who gets saved, who Hunter or Wrecker falls behind for to be like, you get
Mhm.
out, and you go wherever. But that it makes more sense for Echo to die there. He's the soldier. These are the
Oh,
people that want to stay at Pabu eventually,
and now,
and
thinking about it,
um
how much do we how much of the last season, this is making me think they'll link up next episode, do we wanna spend with everybody apart? You know, like, they probably do want to get the team together quick so that
mhm.
they can go on this final fucking adventure trying to keep Crosshair and Omega safe. Um,
Wow.
which will force them to leave Pabu because they won't want to endanger Pabu. They will sacrifice themselves for Pabu.
Mhm. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. They're not snitching on Pabu.
no,
They're
they
not.
won't do that.
No way.
Um,
No. Yeah. No shot. Um.
so that's where I'm like,
Hmm.
I have
Vader kills
because if it
Echo,
is
man.
Vader, if it comes to Vader, I think it will be a group effort initially. And it will eventually arrive at a point where it's like, y'all fucking go. You know, like,
Like we
I
have
think it
no
would
fight.
have to be a
Like.
scenario where all of them are together. They get a moment to and it probably like that's the thing is Echo has the courage to do that, but Hunter feels like the guy who would, you
Mhm.
know?
Mhm.
Um, so I'm
Oh
like, I
man,
think that
dude. Not
I
Echo.
think that it is inevitable that eventually the batch will come face to face with Vader. It's just poetic given that their introduction was an arc with Anakin.
The
And
guy who killed all the Jedi as well, who
yeah,
stormed the temple, who killed all their. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's just gonna happen. God damn
I
it.
mean, it just fits
God
Star Wars
damn it.
storytelling, and
Oh
it's not in a cheap like, oh, Vader shows up randomly
no.
way.
This is
Like,
like
no, like,
this is what Vader would be doing at the time if this is the most
yeah,
important shit to the
yeah.
Empire right now. So, oh, dude, no, you're definitely right. Vader's popping up. That's
But yeah, theorizing aside, this 3-episode premiere was fantastic. It was so nice to have the match in the morning again.
mm,
Getting my cup of coffee, sitting back and watching an hour and 20 minutes worth of the Bad Batch. I know it's going to be nice and short and sweet in the coming weeks. You know, we'll get a couple of these.
yeah.
Um, frankly, I'm fine with a 3-episode premiere. I genuinely do think that for a show that I'm already in,
Mhm.
let that shit breathe. I want one. I want one. I'm cool with 3. I won't complain about 3,
Yeah, kind of
but
three and a
I
half
like the
at
25
that.
minute bite
Yeah,
size. Yeah.
yeah, kind of a 3.5 at that one as well. We were. They definitely gave us a whole lot, and maybe I think the way I see it is them just kind of being like, okay, we're gonna show you where this season's headed. Palpatine's in it. We got it's all like everything's in it. So this is an important show. Watch, I think, is kind of
Well, and
why
it's a good
they are.
closed arc here
Mm-hmm.
as well. We get
Mm-hmm.
the escape of Omega and Crosshair. That's the first 3 episodes, and obviously they're not in episode 2, kinda throws a wrench into things, but, episode 2 was a little bit more of our normal Our normal like,
Mhm.
it was a perfect blend of what our typical Bad Batch stuff is, which
Yeah.
is big, narratively impactful episodes and the side missions that we are going to get so that we can get to this point, and we're working our way there, and I think that that's I mean, it's exactly what I've always wanted from the show, it's exactly what the show has been, and the identity of the show maintains, so
Mhm.
I'm extremely happy with the 3-episode premiere, and, I
Oh, yeah.
assume I assume the same for you.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't get it right in the morning. I went to drive to buy a telescope today. So that was first thing on the docket, but so I saved Bad Batch to give me the excitement for the drive home. So I would be looking forward to something on the way home. And I got home and then I immediately, well, I cleaned off the telescope a little bit of cobwebs on it a little bit. I had to get those off of there. But then I immediately sat down and watched Bad Batch, just front to end, 1 to 3, and I just had a blast the whole time, and
Oh.
even episode 2, like, I don't know,
No,
I
yeah. Episode
it's
2 wasn't as good as episodes 1 and 3,
mhm,
but it's what I love about The Bad Batch, and there's this
yeah,
isolation that it had because it's just Hunter and Wrecker that is new and
mm,
exciting and kinda like,
yeah, it's
"Oh, this
weird
is
to
an
see.
interesting dynamic that I've never really considered, that Hunter and
Mhm.
Wrecker are just gonna be rolling together now because they're the only 2 left."
Oh, man, it's wow. Yeah, they are.
They're dead.
And, this is the gang has to get back together, like,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then maybe that is why they're already out, like, it was just I thought that it would be like, that would be the end or so, like, we got her out, we're at Pabu, we're done,
Or at least the back half of the
yeah,
season,
not just
like,
boom, we're opening up and we're out. Um, Maybe that's why it is just a minor setback. It is we need the most important asset to the Empire. Send the most important or the most capable hunter we have at our disposal, Darth Vader. Go get her. Um,
yeah.
so that'll be scary. Well, maybe it builds up to Vader because we do see Cad Bane, we do see Fennec Shand, we do see
Oh,
some other.
I'm assuming that would be a culminating event of the
Yeah,
season.
so I
Like,
guess
that
maybe
would
it's not
be
not immediately Vader go get her. It'll be Cad
no.
Bane go get her. All these other people go get her. But it's like, okay, whoa, we're dealing with a different crew here. We're
I
dealing with
see eventually a cliffhanger with Palpatine being like, "My boy, they have survived our many attempts to take them out.
mm-hmm.
It is time for you to find Clone Force 99." Yes, my master.
Perfect. This my
You
boy.
know, like,
Yes.
that sort of thing?
Mm-hmm. Oh man, no, that's I'm I don't even know why Vader wasn't on my radar before, but he's popping it. I see it very much so, very likely for him to pop up here. Um, let's see. Anyone else? Just a crazy thing to throw in right at the end, just in case it happens, which would be really cool. Um, I did see this is completely unconnected and way in the future, but the actors for Cal Kestis and Ezra were seen
I saw that
together,
during our little
pictured
break as well.
together, and that's very interesting. If
Yeah, Mon Esfandi
um,
and, Cameron Monaghan.
yes, I knew it started with a C, can like K something, but I didn't know the
Yeah,
rest. But that
yeah.
is that is very cool. Could just be both into Star Wars and friends and whatever.
I,
But
um, I would not love it if Iman Esfandi voices Ezra in The Bad Batch, and he also would be, like, 3, 2, 1-ish.
yeah, that would yeah, okay. So that timeline doesn't make sense then. Yeah,
No,
Ezra,
not
not at
quite.
all.
But
Um,
post in the Mando timeline, it
yes.
makes full sense that they would show up together in live action.
That yes.
Uh,
That's why I said it's completely unconnected
yeah,
and I was trying to draw some connection to it, but just does
yeah.
not work there. Um Yeah, no, I don't think I have any more things I can pull out of
I'm
nowhere.
like, Maul's out
Um
there somewhere. Don't know how he'd come up.
Asajj? is coming back,
Massage,
and
there could be a little bit
maybe
of
there's
a connection
something.
there, and maybe we go to Dathomir. Maybe, maybe there's something there, and that's the connection. I don't know. There's all sorts of shit we could do. Um, but
Wow.
yeah, we're off to a hot start. We're off to the show obviously knows what it is. That's something that
Oh
Brad
yeah.
Rao and Jennifer Corbett have just always been so fucking good about in the running of this show, is that it has such a firm identity and understanding of its characters that I think we're
Mm,
reaping the benefits for
right.
sure.
And it's just peak everything. We've reached the peak visuals that they can get to with this style of animation. Like it's looking so good now. It's like just even the shots of Omega in her cell looking out the window and the light just
God
coming through, like
damn,
those look good. Like those were incredible.
gorgeous.
The even the editing choice of having the water drip at the beginning of the episode and then returning to that to show the cyclic like
Omega with a
the
little
nature.
hair growth also.
Oh,
She got the
yes,
ponytail going.
from 21 days to fucking who knows, like it went from 21 to, I mean,
A
it was
lot.
like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably like 6 rows of 2, 3, like of 5 each. So like that's like each a month. So maybe like half a year, maybe like maybe 6 months she's been in there, which is, man, that's crazy. I guess it's just Mount Tantus. How are they gonna find the most heavily guarded secret that the Empire has? Like it's gonna take
Yeah.
time to get there. So it does make sense, but it's like, um, I don't know. She's out, and didn't even need him. No need to find Mount Tantus anymore. They got out. Nala
Mm.
Se just had that capability the whole time. They could have just done that whenever, and they did it during the time in which it was the hardest to do, whenever Palpatine was there and the guards were
It
up.
was. No, I think
Um,
Nala Se took solace in the idea that Omega would be safe as long as she could work directly with her. And the first time they couldn't, she was like, "Well, jig is up. You got to go. That's it. Like I could protect you as long as I could protect you, and now I can't. So you have to fucking go." If I had to pick a performance also from episode 1, it would have been Nala Se.
hmm,
Um, the voice acting done for Nala Se, and I can't remember the actress off the top or the actor off the top of my head, which makes me feel bad.
that is a
Um,
hard voice to do. Um,
well, and there's a different tone to it now, where
Gwendolyn
it's
Yo or Yo,
always been.
maybe.
Is that
Oh,
what it
that's
says
Clone
for Nala
Wars at
Se?
least. I don't know if it's the
Oh yeah,
same.
oh yeah, same
Uh,
actress,
mhm,
Gwendolyn Yo.
mhm.
Um, but yes, sh- like it's always been peaceful and this, but there's a tone that came into it that is dejected and demoralized, that is in an already difficult
Hmm.
monotone seeming
Wow.
voice. To change it
Mm-hmm.
enough for me to perceive that is insane. And when we are shown Nala Se for the first time, and the first time she
Wow.
talks to Omega, it's really
You're
good.
right.
So I,
Yeah.
I would have gone with her. But Omega, I mean, from the first 3 episodes, Omega is the epitome of everything Star Wars is. I think that when it comes to the hope in the face of
Come on,
insurmountable
man.
odds
Yeah.
for the kids, all the like,
Even little
she's the shit, man. I love
Batch
Omega.
Batcher. I'm getting used to
Thatcher.
it. Even Batcher, his storyline is what Star Wars is all about. It's these little
Like,
mini
whenever she
stories.
releases him, I was like, "Okay, well, he'll come back around eventually."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was
Right.
like, immediate. He's
There he is.
back,
And
and he's with
he's like,
Omega and
yeah.
Crosshair.
And at the end of that episode, he's like howling, like Omega hears him outside of her window, and like it was like, oh man, after being told don't bother, don't worry about lost causes, like it's not gonna work,
Emery
and then
dropping the straw Lula on in the doorway, like, that was another thing that just gives you a little bit, like, so that's another interesting character we didn't touch on at all, is, like, what
true.
Emery's potential for the season
I
is.
bet she feels trapped. You know, she just feels like there's nothing she could do. But she can, you know, like
Well,
if she could do whatever she wanted to do, she wouldn't be with the Empire. I have that
mhm.
feeling, you know. But she's just accepted that this is her life
Well,
now, sort
she's
of
the
thing.
antithesis of Omega. She's a clone. She's her sister. And that's something that Omega points out. Um,
Is that known?
by
Like Hemlock?
I'm assuming so. I'm pretty sure she says in this episode that like when she was sent from Camino, Hemlock took her under her wing. So like
So what's the
the
difference between the two of them? Why does Omega have the M count and Emery? Is it Emery?
Emery, yeah.
And Emery doesn't.
I don't think it's a strictly. uh, She's Omega's sister in that all the clones are Omega's brothers. Like I don't think it means they were created
So
in the same batch or anything.
okay, so Emery's not a strand. Well, I guess they're all strand casts. You know, like that's like Omega and Boba are. How are they different from any other clone?
They're
They just
unaltered.
don't.
They don't have accelerated growth.
That's
They don't
okay.
have accelerated
Yes.
growth.
Okay.
Um,
They just aged
all the
normal.
other clones have they age twice as fast. Um,
So maybe that's the only difference between the two of them
probably.
is the speed. They just want it to be done now, but you just have to wait. You just have
Yeah,
to. Maybe that's just the only thing. So
yeah.
would Boba?
I think I think it's just like anything else. Like the
It
MCAT
doesn't. Just maybe because Omega it doesn't make Boba for sure. It's just like
automatic.
it's
Yeah,
just yeah. Okay.
it's just she happens to be the clone who got a high M count. Like
Mm-hmm.
the way there were 100,000 Jedi at the time of Order 66 in a galaxy of trillions. It's a
Mm-hmm.
very low percentage
Right.
with an M count. Like so the odds of getting
Yeah.
a clone with an M count, like it's just how the logic of the universe works, I guess. But yeah, no,
Hmm.
Emery. It'll be interesting to see if she can choose her side. Because I
Yeah.
think they're definitely trying to draw a comparison between Emery and Omega, with literally Emery saying, what you are to Nala say, I am to
Mm-hmm.
Hemlock.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And in the scene where Omega or Hemlock found Omega letting Batcher out, and Emery was right there standing behind.
She tries to stop him. Yeah.
Yeah, and Omega like stood up to Hemlock. Was like, "No, like I'll speak my mind. I don't give a shit. Like I'm not brainwashed like everyone else here." And Emery kind
Hmm.
of was like, like like watching her standing there. At first, she was like, "Oh, I'll take her back to her room. Don't worry about it. Like I can deal with her." And like it seemed like she was trying to like protect Omega from making her situation worse,
Hmm.
you know. And then
Yeah.
whenever she
Well,
hears
and
Omega speak her mind, I think it's kind of eye opening for Emery. Like that's not happened before. No one does
there
that
is a little
there.
bit there is a little bit of that there. There's one thing that kind of leads me to believe that I don't think we're building towards Emery getting a redemption or anything. And
Mm-hmm.
redemptions, I mean, like she's not evil or anything, but like I think she's gonna stick with her side. Um, there's the moment whenever she goes to Omega's room, check on her after again, very cool thing to be like, you seem off,
Mm-hmm.
forget your assignments today. I'll worry about them. I'll come check on you later. Like she cares about Omega, and that's clear, but I think
Yeah.
she has a longer history with Hemlock, and ultimately that will prevail. And her
Mm.
dedication to science, as Nala Se says, will ultimately be the
Yeah.
factor here. But whenever she does go to Omega's room and finds it empty, the sigh she lets out is not of relief, like, oh, she made it out.
Oh, it's
It's
oh fuck, where
oh
is she? Like god damn it.
yeah,
Like oh,
like
I got to go get her. Like okay.
now
Like
now I gotta go get like basically I think she's worried about Omega living. I think it's like but that's also not the reaction when you're afraid for someone's life is,
hmm.
it was like this goddamn inconvenience, like this really throws a wrench into things, like it's not, so I think that they're going to do a really interesting thing with Emery's morality, but I don't think it's in a way that's like she's eventually going to be like, actually, I'll ride with you, Omega, and maybe it is.
Yeah.
I slept on Fee at the beginning of season 2 hard. She ended up being dope as fuck, so maybe Emery ends up being dope as fuck too.
Man, I think I was early on the Fee train. I remember her being like, I
You
want
were,
Fee to join the batch. I'm like, she's
yeah,
joining the batch, and I want her to be in all the time. And look
yeah.
at her
I was
now.
too trusting. I was too trusting of Sid.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Sid meant Fee would
Mm-mm.
be the problem.
Fuck Sid.
But Fee being
We need to
introduced
see
meant
Sid
Sid.
die, dude. I don't care that it is meant for kids at the end of the day. I don't care. We need to see
We
Sid
watched a
die
lot of people get
brutally.
executed
No,
in the show,
I
so
mean brutally. I mean I need her to go out painfully and them show it. Vader, yes, Vader kills Sid first to show just
yes,
his true
naturally.
but okay. Now I'll reel it back. I'll the Sid hate. Maybe that'll be fulfilled somehow. I forgot even
Fuck
where
Sid.
Sid was
Fuck
left off.
Sid.
Like where is she now? She snitched on
She
him
w
and told him,
she snitched on him from home base. I think they were at Ord Mantell. They don't show her after that, I don't
oh,
think.
so she doesn't show up there whenever they're being taken like I thought for some
When
reason
the
she was like there at the end for some reason.
She is,
Whenever
but
they were
that's
being
on Ord
taken.
Mantell.
Okay.
That's
Mm.
where they're like, it's like outside in the street where her bar is.
Okay. And then God, fuck. So she's just doing what she's normally been doing the whole time?
That was the deal she cut with the Empire. She felt the heat coming down. She turned them in to prevail to let her operation keep going. But
Mm.
nah, man, brilliant season premiere. I'm super excited, and we'll be discussing season 3, episode 4 this Friday. It's coming out today as of release date. But we wanted to align with our schedule a little bit. So season 3 will be this Friday, and every Friday thereafter through the end of this show, which I'm so very excited about. We got Winter is Blooming on Mondays. This week was the season 7 finale, and next Monday will not be Thrones.
Mhm.
Actually, it will be Penny Bloom Film Awards.
Yeah.
We're doing that for 2023. Very excited about that. We're both given a top 10 for the year. I actually just watched a insane combo this morning. I had a lot of time before work. I watched the first 3 episodes of The Bad Batch, and then I decided to taste that with The Zone of Interest, which really wish it would have been the other way around, but I was obviously going to watch The Bad Batch first. Utterly hopeless piece of film. Really devastating stuff. Very, very emotionally distant. Strongly recommend. It's nominated for Best Picture and Best Director and all sorts of stuff. It's a very, very well done movie.
I see
Extremely well
a
done.
garden and a house, and that's about every picture that I see of.
Yes, this garden and house is located. Do you see the wall in the back?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, on the other side of that wall is Auschwitz.
Yeah, I
So,
just got to that part. Yeah, that was
yeah.
okay.
No,
I see
it's a
why now.
uh disturbing, really well done, but disturbing movie that I have no interest in watching anytime soon again. But do recommend. It's deeply important. I think it's a very I'll read my Letterboxd review because it's relevant to everything ever. And the Bad Batch and Star Wars and the spirit of things and just so I watched the Bad Batch and then I watched the Zone of Interest and wrote this at I don't know 9 a.m. this morning. How does one exist amid the atrocities they commit? They must choose to ignore them. They must choose to plant flowers to smother the stench of death. They must choose to fill their house with people and music to drown out the screams of the innocent. They must choose to line their walls with shrubbery to forget what's on the other side. And when those things aren't enough, when they can't forget, when they can't ignore it anymore, they must choose to be content with the atrocities that have privileged them so. They cannot just ignore them, but must actively accept them and even welcome them. So that's the kind of shit I was thinking about this morning after I watched The Zone of Interest.
Damn, it's incredible just how well you can write. Like that's just
Thank you, man. Thank you.
I was expecting whenever you're like, I'll read my review for the movie, I'm like, okay, so just a normal review for a movie. No, and then
There is a normal review part. The movie is haunting, meticulous, and methodical. The performances are good. The writing is better. The directing is best. Movie is deeply important, and while I'm not in any hurry to watch it again, I can't understate how brilliantly crafted it is.
okay, that's what I expected. Just off rip was just that, but then you gave me a beautiful poem, basically.
It lets this story breathe in the most fucked up way. Like it is so.
Oh yeah, that's.
It's.
It was perfect. The way the way I experienced figuring out the movie was kind of how I feel, what the movie's all about. I thought it was like,
that's kind of
how
it goes.
I'm like a nice looking family here, a nice garden,
Yep.
and then
the father of the family runs Auschwitz.
Yeah, like never mind, not a nice looking family at all.
No.
Yeah, so.
And there's a bunch of like the soundtrack is disturbing. It's bad. It's like it's good, but it's bad. You know, like it's you at the beginning of the movie you hear this background noise and you don't know what it is.
Oh God!
And it becomes clear what it is because they're next door to Auschwitz. So that said, deeply important movie, very relevant, very disturbing, very good. I watched that with the Bad Batch this morning, so quite the double feature. But yeah, so that certainly crept into some of my content for the 2023 Penny Bloom Film Awards. That's where that started. And that's next Monday. So
oh yeah, that's where we were.
We will enjoy that. Like I said, we'll be continuing Bad Batch on Fridays, and then next Wednesday brings us the beginning of our first actor spotlight for Dev Patel, and we will be covering The Last Airbender.
Yes.
I'm assuming far worse than The Zone of Interest, but probably a lot more fun to watch.
Yeah, and that's okay. Some movies, they don't, I don't know. It'll give me a chance to reminisce on the animated show. That's far better.
I never watched it.
Oh,
yeah, missed me when I was a kid.
I didn't even watch it when I was a kid. I watched it in high school or maybe even after. So
yeah,
I did watch it as a kid.
I might get around to it. I mean, I've heard great things, obviously, but
dude, I'm telling
you,
this. I don't know. That's why I'm actually a little excited for it, even though it's apparently a shitter of a movie. It's Dev Patel, and it's the start. It's the first acting spotlight we're doing, and it's a cool. It's
I'm excited. I'm super excited.
No, this is.
Don't get me wrong.
I'm stoked.
I'm there. I'm in it. I'm here for it.
I don't like the Avatar slander though. I'm very protective of The Last Airbender just because of the animated show. So I don't. Even if this movie's bad, which it probably is, I'm already just automatically defensive of it.
Yeah, I get you.
But yeah,
no, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I've never seen it, so I can't really talk shit about it. I've just heard things. But I'm excited. I'm excited for it.
It'll be fun.
But yeah, so Film Awards, Dev Patel, Bad Batch. Next several weeks, after the Film Awards next week, we will be returning to Game of Thrones, where we will be finishing the final season of Game of Thrones alongside the final season of the Bad Batch, which is super fun. I'm very excited about that. But yeah, with that, if you would, head to patreon.com/PennyBloomPod, where for $3 a month you can support the podcast financially. Huge because it costs me money and I don't make any off of it unless it's over there. Head to Twitter, follow @PennyBloomPod, follow on Instagram @PennyBloomPodcast, follow on TikTok @PennyBloomPodcast. I'm sure we've got a few clips from this episode. Go subscribe on YouTube. This will be available for you there. If you're not watching, I shouted that out at the beginning. You can see all the setup we've got going on, all the Bad Batch stuff. I'm gonna try my best to wear this bandana every single week, every single episode, just to keep the Bad Batch spirit alive. But yeah, with that, I was Colton Robertson, and I was joined by Joseph George. Thank you very much, homie.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure to be here.
Oh, and it's always a pleasure to have. And remember, peace, love, and bloom, and always praise Omega.